In this exercise in my sketchbook, I wanted to make a painting. It was based on a memory, and I still wanted also to have all the elements that I like in a painting. For example, I wanted it to have good texture, I like line, I like shape, strong value contrasts, and I wanted to keep it simple. So I started off by drawing from memory, and all these shapes and little drawings here, little line drawings, are all based on memory and things that have happened in my past, or people in my past, and things from my childhood. So I have initials of my parents, I have words from my childhood, just really graphic, simple drawings that are a reminder for me of things that were in my childhood. Then on the page, I first of all started to gesso, and then while the gesso was quite thick, I then drew into the wet gesso with a pencil. And this kind of is almost like engraving into the gesso, so it creates a groove in the surface of the paint. I just covered the whole page, repeating these shapes. When the gesso was dry, I then can glaze over the top, and as you can see, the very liquid paint of the glaze sinks into those grooves and makes them darker. And so here I'm just sort of trying to bring in those strong lights and darks and just building the surface of this painting. So you can see how the paint has sort of filled the grooves that the pencil made in the gesso, and scraping the thin paint over the top and wiping it back creates lovely textures, and those marks are sort of embedded in the surface of the paint. So having created that surface, then I wanted to make space for drawing of the actual object or whatever it was, the subject of this painting. So I had to start almost over again with a warmer colour first of all, in contrast to the cool colour that was underneath. And just sort of following the same process of drawing into the wet paint and then putting a glaze over the top and letting that sink into the grooves and getting some nice marks and spreading the glaze around to create the surface. I'm sort of building up warm and cool and interesting marks. And now I'm coming in with dark over light, thicker paint this time, and over the top of this paint, instead of drawing with the pencil, I'm going to actually paint one of the little drawings that I had done in pencil on the other page. And this is a milk crate. When I was a child, we used to have a milkman that used to come and take our empty milk bottles away and leave full milk bottles in the crate. And we used to have, there were 6 children in our family, and we used to go through 10 milk bottles, 10 pints of milk a day. Which seems an awful lot to me now. Anyway, so here I am painting this in and drawing it in over the top. So the lines that are underneath, I'm still using that same process of drawing through the wet paint and then bringing a milk bottle in over the top of that. Then blocking out so that the main focus is the milk crate. And just sort of putting some little notes into the background that refers to the story of how many milk bottles we used to have in our family as when we were growing up. 10 bottles of milk a day, 6 blue top and 2 silver. silver were cream. They had cream on the top of them.